Okay, so the last host of Sunshine was a dude with no women's skills. And the wielder of Sunshine before that was a dude with no women's skills who was also a coward and fought her. So now, the latest wielder of Sunshine not only has all the women's skills, but is a woman. Talk about a plot twist. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Sinis Lancelot, Art Goon, and Praise the Sun. And a big thank you to our $25 patron, The Mr. Greed. Now, before we hop into this breakdown / review of Chapter 60, the Big 60 of 4 Nights of the Apocalypse, please do me a favor, leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Now, let's get into last week's poll. So last week, after the chapter, I decided to ask you all a simple question. Who did you think the traitor would be? Stroke our beards. If we don't have beards, let's stroke our chins and wonder. And essentially, I gave y'all 3 options. It was Pelgar, Dickums, he was on our side all along, Jade, the sleeping dog waiting for his chance, and Kion. Too much evidence, way too much evidence. And notably, I was actually pretty shocked by the results. So we come in and we get with a girthy 63% Kion. And I'm not surprised that Kion won. Obviously, way too much evidence is way too much evidence. I'm shocked at how little he won by, because his runner, Pelgar, had 23%, and a sleeper, deeper, leaper, jeeper pick, Jade, has 14% of the vote. This is 142 votes. There's some good participation on this one. And in that same vein, in that same breath, there was still this diversity. And notably, I know I really shouldn't be switching up like this, because I've been on the Kion's evil train since the man showed up. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm pretty sure you can go back and check to the first chapter Kion debuted in. And I was like, yeah, he evil. However, based on how Nakaba, he likes to mess with you. He likes to mess with you. He likes to make the obvious not the solution. I'm really leaning towards both Pelgar and Jade. I do believe there can be a dualistic traitor thing here. Like, notably, we don't know what traitor the traitor is being traitorous to, because really, Pelgar revealing himself right here, right now, in last week's chapter, and not instantly taking Percival's head when he had the chance to, that's being a traitor right then and there. That's treason. Just like everything Kion's been doing is treason. And in that same vein, well, not in that same vein, but Jade, I don't know. I feel like just because he's been so quiet, and we've gotten have we even gotten like his own internal thought processes yet? Like, have we actually been inside his head? Like, you know how we've been inside Kion's thoughts, we've been with Kion when he thinks he's alone and he's spoken to himself and stuff like that. I feel like we've gotten a whole ton of that, and not enough of Jade. So, Jade, if he ends up being the traitor, especially after how this chapter plays out with its twist, I wouldn't actually be too shocked. I wouldn't be too surprised. However, that was last week's poll. Please make sure you participate in the next poll dropping tomorrow at 12 p.m. I love doing these polls. I love getting the community consensus and opening up these discussions. I love responding to y'all comments and stuff like that. It's great. I don't know. I really enjoy doing stuff like this because it's great to expand the discussion just beyond the chapter itself and possibly peer into the future a little bit. So make sure you hit next week's poll, or tomorrow's poll, dropping at 12 p.m. Now, enough of that. Let's hop into Chapter 60. What's up, guys? I love the Pencil here, and here we are to review Chapter 60 of 4 Nights of the Apocalypse, which is known as Leonis in Flames, or should we really call it the Reveal of the Sun? But this chapter is thick, it's girthy, it's juicy, so enough preamble, enough build-up. Let's hop right into the cover page. I don't know, I really want to talk about the cover page because it has Big Papa Pelgar on it, for one. And two, I don't know, I just love the dichotomy between these two. Like, you can see how tiny Percival is next to Like, Percival's face is smaller than Pelgar's forearm. That's how girthy Pelgar is. I think it's hilarious. I really, really like it. I don't know. And the hypothetical and very possible, like I've been saying these past couple chapter reviews, that whole line about hope being stolen away, I still think it very much is Pelgar just stealing Percival. Like, I know it would be very, very anticlimactic and probably annoying to some people if the knights just gathered, if they really just plopped it on the spot right here and now, and suddenly one of them disappears. I know that would be very annoying, and I know it would suck to have to split narratives, but at the same time, hope being stolen away. We know Percival's magic is hope. He could be stolen away. Like, I legit think you could probably stuff Percival in one Pelgar's boots with how big Pelgar is. So, legitimately, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, and I really like the cover page. So I actually wanted to acknowledge it. I rarely acknowledge the cover pages, but I don't know. Sometimes I just like to do it. However, enough of that. Let's hop into the chapter itself. So we open up, and we get to see that Pelgar is getting a pretty obvious question. He's like, Percival asked the very simple question of, Big Papa Pelgar, I know you're the best character in the series, and I know that guy with the pencil has been feeding to see you ever since you were introduced all the way back in, like, chapter 5. However, can you do me a very simple favor and tell me how, why, what are you doing in Leonis? And I love Pelgar's response. It's like, come on now, kid. I came all the way here from the entangled forest to pursue you. And, like, I find it hilarious because the thing about that is, right, I thought Pelgar was, like, teleported by Arthur or something like that. I thought he was brought here. I thought something external happened. I thought there was some treachery, some trickery going on. I didn't think that Pelgar actually, like, he must have flown here. Like, initially, when I was doing the live reaction on my Patreon, my immediate thought was, like, did he run? But no, we know he has that flying saucer. But at the same time, like, can you imagine Lance teleports away, and then in that very next moment, Pelgar's like, Pelgar, calculate. Where would they go? Leonis! And then just burst off there. I love that. And this, once again, continues the fact that Pelgar's pretty much autonomous. Like, he does what he wants to do for his own reasons. And him pursuing Percival all the way here with no real specific objective other than to observe and possibly take Percival away to train him, once again, it's treasonous, but unlike with Khan's treason, I'm down for this kind of treason. Pelgar trained that boy Percival up. I'm willing to see the master-student dynamic. Unfortunately, the thing is, right, as much as I would love to see the master-student dynamic between those two, that would usually mean Pelgar has to die, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if after Arthur finds that out, he's like, wow, Pelgar, man, you've been a great soldier. I trusted you for all these years. You really are a wonderful guy. Shame he had to die this way, though. And then bada bing, bada boom, Pelgar dies. And I don't want that. But at the same time, like, I don't know, sometimes sacrifices need to be made. But regardless of that, we see that Peleo apparently, and this is weird, right? Because this throws me off. So Peleo says, you're not involved in this. Get out of here, kid. But in that same vein, like, Peleo, you should recognize this dude. I know, he's just a ruby ranked knight, but, like, the Coffin of Eternal Darkness? You're telling me Kion knew the prophecy, but you, a platoon leader of one of the main gates of Leonis, didn't know the prophecy? Like, I'll give Peleo a pass here, because I'm going to assume he's looking on, like, still, his adrenaline's still pumping, he's still worried about Pelgar being here, because obviously Pelgar's been proving a threat in just basic hand-to-hand combat. So, reasonably, it makes, where's the ring? Oh wait, it's still raining. It's still raining. I think it's still raining. But regardless, it's interesting that Peleo didn't immediately recognize him. But then in the same vein, Pelgar straight up says, nah, you're good. Don't need you here anymore. I don't need any more entertainment. The dude I came for is literally right here. And Pelgar's, I mean, that once again goes to show Pelgar's confidence, and we love a confident character, unlike fodder like Mael. But regardless of that, it is cool to see how he's straight up like, oh yeah, I'm here on business with this kid Percival, the Knight of the Apocalypse. Like, he just straight up says it. He essentially reveals his suspicions that Peleo had last chapter. He's like, yeah, I'm a Knight of Arthur, and I need the kid, who also happens to be a Knight of the Apocalypse. Bada bing, bada boom, you done, son. What you gonna do about it? And then we get to see Peleo have this terrified reaction of like, oh no. Like, legitimately, he's like, this little kid, this thing, that's one of the 4 knights? Oh my. Like, I don't even blame him though. That has to be terrifying. However, I guess Peleo still didn't put the pieces together fully there, because he's like, wait a minute. If that's true, you're even more suspicious. If you know about the prophecy when Commoner shouldn't know about it, he's been fighting you, a holy knight, with flame magic. And just like raw hand, like, do you really think this dude's just a regular commoner? Like, even if that, like, even if he was just a regular traveling, then again, see, the world of 7 Deadly Sins is so vast that would make sense that random people like Pelgar just happen to exist and pop up. Heck, look at Percival. Percival, hero type magic is a thing, meaning it's shown up before. So obviously there are hero types out there, so it would make sense why Pelgar would be just randomly powerful. However, we get to see, before Pelgar can even answer Peleo's quite obvious question, Donnie pops up, and he's like, because his name is Pelgar, the Black Knight, and he's after Percival's life. And I love how Pelgar's response. He like just has this like proud glow on his face. He's like, "Oh, you, fodder," and by fodder I mean Donnie. You're here as well. That's cool. It still blows me away that they couldn't recognize him though. I mean, I get it somewhat, but like I said, they still didn't even recognize his voice. Like, I don't know. Considering the PTSD Donnie had from Pelgar, if I heard that voice that I just heard a few hours ago, I'd be like, ooh. My brain would shut down and be like, Percival, we need to go now. And the fact that Percival is just staying here talking about, but then again, once again, Pelgar didn't necessarily have an antagonistic relationship with Percival. Sure, he wanted to take him with him, but he didn't like want to execute him. Like, the moment Ironside, the actual father, pulled up to Percival, he walked by him, offed his granddad, and then tried to call off Percival, and then they tried to off him again on the repeat encounter. Obviously, Pelgar did that neither time, and he isn't immediately attacking Percival, so I get why Percival has his guard down, essentially. Then we get to see that Peleo finally puts two and two together, being the Black Knight. I guess that finally makes him realize, oh, so he's a Chaos Knight. That's why he was so familiar. Yes, Peleo. Did you also know that when it's not cloudy outside, the sky is blue? And we breathe air. Regardless of that, we get to see that Peleo's actually, once again, impressed by Pelgar's guts and bravado. He's like, wow, he really came here alone with no backup. He's a little bit nutty for that. And we see that Pelgar, I do love this though. Like, he's a jovial, happy man. Obviously happy to see his, I'm just gonna, like, I'll just say Percival's his godson. Like, can you imagine that? I doubt it. I really, then again, Ironside and Pelgar seem like good friends. So if anyone would be Percival's godson, I feel like it would be Pelgar, if not Arthur himself. So, or not godson. If anyone were to be Percival's godfather, it probably would be Pelgar, if not Arthur himself. However, I love how Pelgar immediately switches once Peleo raises his weapon to him and gets his sword back. He's like, yo, let me warn you, right here, right now, do not put your dukes up unless you're trying to get punched. Let me level with you real quick. You are not that guy, pal. You are not that guy. You better jump me at the bare minimum. And I do think that's cool, right? Because Pelgar, he has enough respect to be like, yo, I'm not the one. You don't play with me. So if you want smoke, you better get a whole bonfire ready, because I ain't going down easy. I ain't no one-on-one kind of man. You saw how I was bodying you. I was just boxing you out. No weapons, no amps, nothing. I even got my armor on. How you feel about that? And in kind, Peleo responds. And we see someone who looks like Golgies. I don't know. And this guy here with the helmet, if you remember the weird fangs, he looks like an altered Golgius. Remember the dude that could turn invisible and stole Dragon Handle and gave us our first setting of Demon Mark in the entire series? Yeah, that dude. He looks like he's here. I know it's not, I don't think it's the exact same armor, not the armor piece or like the headpiece or the rest of the armor, but still very interesting that he popped up. And notably, I looked it up and he's technically, I don't know, this is just going off the wiki, I didn't actually look it up deep. But unlike Ruin and what's her name, Fresia, why do I remember it? Well, I looked it up, but unlike Ruin and Fresia, who we know died to demons, I don't think we ever got to see Golgius perish. So this could entirely be him just returning to Leonis and making up for his misgivings. However, we see that this other dude and Peleo, they're determined. They aren't trying to fight him or take Pelgar down for his own glory, but they're doing it because they're simply holy knights of Leonis. And that's cool. I like that. I like the declaration of war, if you will. And we get to see that obviously, with 3 holy knights and Pelgar here, there are not only more holy knights in Leonis, but at the same time, a battle is about to ensue. And if their last battle with a group of holy knight babies, like admittedly, Kion, Jade, and Isolde, they're still babies, really. Like, what, 16-year-olds if they're near Tristan's age. So, reasonably, if they were able to do as much damage as they did, 4 holy knights going at it is going to cause a whole lot more damage. So they're immediately pulling back. And I love how the group even admits, like, whoa, these are the only holy knights. They about that smoke. They mean business. And man, wait till y'all meet Eliotis. He was about that smoke. He calmed down a little bit. But then we get to see that Pelgar, like, the fact that they let him do this is kind of weird. Like, it's a cool moment, and I like what comes of it. But like, Pelgar, when a weapon is drawn to him, he like just turns and starts walking back towards the table. And like, dude, Peleo, stab him. Like, do something. You know he's a Chaos Knight. Why are you speaking to him? Like, you can't escape, Pelgar. He's walking away. Just stop him. But of course, Pelgar, stay away. But of course, Pelgar, he walks up, he grabs his hood or his cape, and then he puts it on and swings it. And then with a flap of his cape, his armor, his flying saucer, which is now a shield, and his magic staff are back. So, interestingly enough, that's very cool magic. I'm assuming it's magic. I wonder if that's chaos magic or like maybe the cape is built in with the apport spell. You know, the one that Merlin uses to like teleport clothes and armor and weapons and stuff like that. Who knows? But it's very cool that his entire armor set can essentially just be contained within his cape. I like that. It's a really cool function. And it's really cool to see this image of Pelgar at reasonably, maybe not, it's weird to say full power Pelgar, but I don't think he ever used his shield that much against Percival. He never like stepped forth with this much gusto. But I love seeing he slams his shield into the ground, slams his staff into the ground, and then he says, "Fine, I'll push my way through force. I will achieve my goals, you." And honestly, without context, just show this man to someone who doesn't read Fortnite and be like, "Oh yeah, that's got to be the hero." But and also, question. Thank you to everyone in the comment section who is able to give me historical background on these characters, give me details on that stuff. So I once again come to you with a humble request. What is Pelgar's weapon? Is it just a black mace with no spikes? Like, I don't know. It's not a morning star, I don't think. It doesn't look like him. Then again, do maces always have spikes? Hold on. Maybe morning stars just have spikes. Mace. I'm actually trying. Not Macy's. Not Macy's. Not that either. A mace. Oh, so yeah, I guess, and who knows, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe this is just like a very simple kind of mace. Who knows? But if you guys actually know what that weapon is, tell me in the comments section down below. I didn't acknowledge it last time because I don't think he actually pulled it out against Percival, unless I'm mistaken. It was on his waist, but I don't think he ever like pulled out the Splagaki. But now he has the Splagaki in hand, so obviously this is a pretty pressing situation. But with that being said, we see the rain is still going on. And interestingly enough, we cut back and we see someone clunking and clunking along, and we see some kids running by and they're like, "Oh, that big lady's crying." Big lady. I don't know, I find that hilarious. But these kids are running by and they know that a tall lady is crying, and notably this is a woman that we haven't seen in a couple chapters now ever since she ran away. It's Isolde, and we see due to her exaggerating the circumstances of her situation, which is what almost led her to slaughtering one of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, she now believes she has no purpose in life because she has self-isolated herself from Prince Tristan. Like, bro, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, and you know, I was just coming around. No, I wasn't. Let me not even lie to you. I was about to say, you know, I was just coming around to Tristan's squad. No, I wasn't. Let me not lie to you. Jade still has no character. Kyan still believes in treason. The only person who's up right now in Tristan's squad stock is Tristan himself. I think he's a W right now. However, Isolde, just for when you can't, like, I get it. Teenagers act in extremes. I know, but still, I don't know. Like a little, like, was I that? I mean, I'm still crazy, but I don't think I was like that crazy at 16. Like, golly, gee willikers. However, like, she literally says there's no value to me living on. Like, what was she going to do? Like, what was she going to do if someone didn't roll up right here and, you know, start spitting game? Like, legitimately, what was the plan from this point on? Were you just going to be like, well, I shall do what many of last week's comment section said they would have done to Guinevere if they were assaulted by her. I will dive off this cliff. I will drop myself off this cliff. Like, legitimately, I don't know what the plan was after that, but I mean, you lucky you canon. I'm pretty sure the only reason you still alive is because you canon. You lucky. You part of the narrative, the original narrative. So Nakaba can't get rid of you that easily. Unlike Kyan and Jade, they both, so far, no one has deconfirmed Joel's fanfiction of the characters. So Kyan and Jade yell up for the lottery at any moment. Unfortunately, like a majority of our cast, Nasians included. But regardless of that, I don't know. However, we get to see that a certain voice is like, "Hey, what's wrong, young lady?" And this is very interesting, right? Because at least from what the voice claims, I guess not necessarily what the voice claims, but like at least from what Isolde claims later on in the chapter, just like, then again, Tristan, maybe this person has a very gender neutral voice. Like, is please don't cancel me. But like, I typically know what a boy's voice sounds like. At least once you get to like a certain point. Like a lot of kids just sound the same. They haven't developed at all. None of their like vocal. They haven't. At best, they develop like speech patterns, but in terms of like tone, it's pretty much impossible to tell a male baby from a female baby because they both just cry. But at least once you get to like those 16 ranges, your young adulthood into the rest of your life, you can pretty much tell what a male or female sounds like for the most part. So I'm kind of shocked that no one's able to recognize this voice. Because once again, we got to realize Tristan heard this voice too, but just couldn't identify it as male or female. Just didn't know. Interesting. But regardless, we get to see that this person comes up and is like, "Hey, could I join you for one moment? Like, you know what you trying to get into?" And Isold is like, "Please, just." And interestingly enough, well, not necessarily interestingly enough, I'm not sure how much lower Isold is relative to this woman, but this woman is. I'm saying this woman. I already revealed it in the intro last year. You know what happens in this chapter, but this woman is seemingly taller than Isold, so maybe that's why she gets confused. I don't know, but we see that Isold's like, "Yo, I get it. I get it." See, once again, just due to how I was raised, I'm not going to make certain jokes that are very easy jokes for me to make. However, but Isold's like, "Please, just leave me alone. I need to leap." And the woman is like, "Yeah, let me live with you real quick, sweetheart. I cannot leave a woman in tears like that. That's just not my prerogative." And like, legitimately, this game would have worked on me. But then again, I'm much there. I'm easy, if you will. Meanwhile, I guess Isold just has standards, you know. But then again, when your standards are the prince of the most powerful kingdom across the lands, as far as you know, it's pretty hard to beat that. But regardless, I mean, I don't know. This person is also royalty. But we see that apparently Isold views herself as unattractive. And once again, this is that time period. But I don't know. At least to me, I know that's even a stereotype in our modern day, but I'm rock with tall women. Do y'all remember the poll I posted after what Isold was introduced? Like, tall women are W's, and like all y'all went with that. Like, before we knew anything about their characters, except for that Isold was on Demon Time. Like, even when Isold was on Demon Time, we were all just like, "Yeah, tall women are W's," because we agree on that. But I guess back then, being tall as a woman isn't necessarily the most attractive of traits. That's why Diane kept freaking out about the fact that she was like, what wasn't the gag that Meliodas said? No, Gotha read her mind and found out she was 31 feet, but she always says she's 30. Like, what difference does the extra couple inches make? I guess it makes so many, like, and the thing is, I want to make the jokes, and the people who would get the jokes know what the jokes are. So, like, you know what I was about to say when the joke that was going to come out when I said, what difference does a couple extra inches make, except for a couple differences down below. But regardless of that, I don't care. I believe that poll was like 63%. No, I may just remember this poll, but a good chunk of people didn't care. So, tall women, at least in the modern era, we'd rock with you. So it's not a problem on our end. However, we get to see that the person is like, yo, chill. Well, can I say that? Nah, hold on. Can I say that? I'm gonna leave it in. I'll take the risk. But hey, chill, baby girl. You know what? Let's rock with this. You can't say anything like that sad. You guys relax. Take a breath. Take a break. Tears are ill-fitting if someone has your lovely looks. Yo, the game spitting is immaculate. Like, so sad looks are ill-fitting of someone of your lovely looks. That's all. I'm gonna steal that. Yo, if you I'm not sure when the next Comic-Con is. I'm not even sure if I could go to the next Comic-Con. But like, if y'all ever see me at any convention and you hear me say this exact line, don't do it to me like that. Don't. It scared me. Don't do it to me like that. Don't come out and be like, "Hey, yo, he just quoted chapter 60." You don't do that to me. But I'm gonna steal that. If you see me pull up something, yeah. I don't know, but I'm sorry, that scared me. But I don't know. I may just have to, I may be taking notes right now. Y'all can't see me. Y'all can't see me. So y'all know if I'm taking notes. I may be taking notes right this instant. I may have a pencil in my hand working on a piece of paper right now taking notes. Because I'm just saying, this game is immaculate. It even gets ISO to be like, hey, yo. Like, legitimately, she breaks down to a blush for the first, well, no, she's already blushing. But in the same vein, like, the tears stop. She's like, wait a minute. Lovely looks. Like she wasn't expecting that. Then we get to see that she snaps back, right? She gets back into her, like, I don't know, right? Because, like, I'm not into self-degradation, and it's 2020. Well, it's the current year, just in case someone's watching this in the future. But, like, it's the current year, so I don't judge people because that's illegal. But, like, you gotta be some kind of. You gotta have some deep kind of self-hatred to just keep putting yourself down like this. Like, don't tease me. I'm over 6 feet tall, good for nothing but feats of strength. Even I know how poorly suited I am. How poorly I suit that man. So maybe she's specifically lining herself up to Prince Tristan, but, like, I'm not sure how tall Meliodas and Zelda's dads were, or no, mom was. But then again, like, the weird thing is, right, in the flashback with Chaos, the Demon King's already old, for one, and two, already seems to be giant-sized. I know that's just the Demon King we're more common with, so that may be the reasoning for that, but in the same vein, like, remember, the Demon King and the Supreme Deity supposedly didn't get big, or at least I know the Demon King supposedly didn't get big until he went to Purgatory. So it's entirely possible that the Demon King was literally just around that Zelda size, or like that prime Demon King size, and he likes some tall women, because you gotta realize, Elizabeth is taller than Meliodas, Gelda's taller than Zeldris. And those are the only two references for males in the demon royal family bloodline. So, you never know. Tristan, and considering how much he pandered to you in that one little interaction we got between you two before you ran off, I think he look get rocking with told me. You know what I'm saying? I think you're overreacting. I think you really are just overreacting. And we see, yo. Oh my, I love it. I love it. Wait, what does that say? What does that say? Hold on. I'm scanning deep. Hold on, wait a second. By the power of Zoom. What the heck? Okay, that's kind of weird. But you see, after Isol declares, I could never match with my short king. The other person is like, hey, I'm loving you real quick. I'm feeling real envious of that man. If you think of him that much. To me, you are more than lovely enough, and like, and notably, kids. I see, the weird thing is, like, I look at my analytics a lot, and I don't know the age of most of y'all. Like, so my analytics are all over the place. I know there's some people across all age ranges, across all countries that watch me, but I just don't know what specifically y'all watch because the analytics don't go that deep. But for anyone doing this, male or female, or whatever you choose to identify as, I respect all choices. Don't do this to people. Do not go up and randomly grab their hips. That's not. I was about to say, unless you're like some, but even if you're some famous person, don't do that. Like, even I solely gets a little bit concerned when, like, the person puts their hands on her hip and is like, yo, let me talk to you real quick. And, like, we spit game. We don't take it. Well, actually, no. Like, see, if a tall woman if a woman would come to me and be like, spitting this game, but I guess like the male equivalent to me, like, call me, man, you a handsome man. I wish I was on your mind as much as she was. Like, I'd fold. I'm not gonna lie. So, like, you can come and grab my hips, but you can't stop. I gotta stop. But regardless, like, don't do that. That's bad. That's illegal. You'll go to jail. I'd rather. Do you know how weird that would be? Like, I get the phone call somehow, like, hey, yo, so and so's going to jail. Why? They took chapter 60 way too literally. Grab someone by the hips. They call the cops. No, like, just don't do that. However, back into the chapter itself. I'm sorry. I know I went on a whole tangent there, but she's breaking a little bit, right? Like, she had that little blush before, but now it's reaching her ears. And once it gets to the ears, you know what's going down for real. And of course, we get to see. And, yo, like, straight up, this person is just a modern day individual teleported into the past. And she's like, no need to give time to small-minded men who would charge you for your height. Join me and let's discuss love together. Not gonna lie, I feel like this individual right here, they're trying to talk about a different kind of love. You know what I'm saying? they ain't interested in your typical low key brand. Like, they may talk physically, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, we get to see that. And it's interesting, like, the weird point comes up here, right? Like, after such smooth game was spit, after such a lot, like, they not, like, removing, like, being completely serious, dropping this impression and the hilarity behind the situation, at least for me, leveling with you, this person makes a great point. The people who are afraid of things out of our control, such as height, complexion, disability, those kind of people are not worth your time, and you should be proud of who you are in every way, shape, and form. So not only is this some amazing game to be spitting, but it's also just a really good argument. And I like that Nakaba's pushing forward this narrative here, and I like the narrative that he's revealed to be pushing forward by the end of the chapter. So this is really, really good. I like that a lot. Thank you, Nakaba. I love the representation and the honestly clear cut and beautiful way you presented that. That was great. Now back to the fact that the game is being effective. A little bit too effective, too. Because, like, Isolde even is like she's stuttering right now. Like, I may be jilted, but I'm not weak enough to fly into another man's arms. Me, my body, it's all for his sake. And, like, notably, like, it's weird, right? Because I wouldn't say Four Knights is a manga for kids. I know it's covering, like, 3 foot tall, 16. Percival's 5 foot. How tall is Donnie? But regardless. I'm sorry, I know it's such a weird thing, but once again, just the idea. Isolde's 6 foot. Percival's 5 foot because he's equal in height to Meliodas. How big is a foot in Seven Deadly Sins world? Well, regardless, we really like. But then again, once again, as y'all have repeated to me endlessly in the comments, thank you for that. Like, I'm sorry, I'm very. As a wise one of y'all pointed out, I'm old. All right, I'm very set in my ways. Gosh darn it. So 16, you're still 2 years off from adulthood in my mind, but I know, in context, all of our main characters are technically adults. The only outlier is Guinevere, but she's not even here anymore, so it's fine. But, I don't know, still find it weird, like, 16-year-olds talking about dedicating their body to someone else. Like, when I hear dedicating bodies, it's just things that cannot be discussed on a safe YouTube channel. So regardless, it is kind of funny. But regardless of that, we get to see that this person that's with Isolde is smiling. Like, they see the game's working, alright? But then again, once again, the weird thing is, Isolde says, I'm not going to fly into another man's arms. So, like, what does this person sound like? Just having context of the reveal. That's the main reason I'm saying this. Like, and yeah, it looks like, for a fact, Isolde does seem to stand up to full height here. So this person is taller than Isolde. But why? What is I really, and this is the thing that I'll never get, because, well, when the anime drops and we get to chapter 60, and who knows, I still think once the anime comes out, season 1 is likely going to end on if it doesn't end on the Lancelot reveal, it's going to end on us being back to Leonis, then it's going to cut to black, the credits are going to play, and then we get the Leonis arc, quote unquote, in season 2. So we won't be seeing this knight until season 2. Kind of the same. Nakaba, you mad genius. Then again, season 1 was 24 episodes. It covered a lot. Like, hold on. It went all the way up into the... Yeah, if season 1 covered past this point. So maybe we will get here. I wouldn't... Now that I think about it, with that context in my head, considering season 1 ended on Hendrickson defeat, who's going to lose in this first primary arc? Because, because now that I think about it, we aren't near the ending of season 1 for Seven Deadly Sins, if it's going to be 24 episodes again. So something has to happen, and notably, maybe we're going to end sometime around this, like, once we hit the climax of this little miniature arc, like, then maybe we'll end, but I'm wondering where we're going to end here, now that I think about it, because that's a lot. This would be perfect if it was a 12-episode anime, like, the Leonis reveal would be great. In fact, I think that literally works out perfectly, or the Lance reveal would work better, because I think he dropped in chapter 48, and you could literally just do 12 chapters an episode, but regardless of that, interesting, very interesting. But to tie way back to the point, I wonder what this person's voice actress is going to be, or maybe voice actor. I don't know. Supposedly they sound like a man, or a young lad, I suppose. Considering Isolde assumes they're a man, despite obvious features that are revealed later. Well, then again, I don't think Isolde. Now I look about it, I don't think Isolde ever actually looks at the person that's speaking to them. So it makes sense. Never mind. It makes sense why Isolde doesn't recognize that. But the voice thing, once again, like around the age that this character should be, considering the age of the rest of our cast, should to some degree have a voice more fitting to their biological nature, if you will. But regardless of that, we get to see Isolde notices something in the distance, and I wonder if what. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, yeah, don't do this. I just read, I thought, there's a tiny speech bubble in Isolde's arm that I thought said, what the heck? Because she's reacting to something else. But no, it says, what cheek? I really hope, don't, okay. Spit the game. Do not play it. There we go. That's the line we need. Do not assault people like this. Don't do that. Don't. You'll go to jail immediately. Do not take this person's advice fully. Take what they say. Do not do what they do. Because you can't just walk up and... I can't say the word, but you know what. Don't touch people where they don't... Sonic has elaborated on before. If they touch you in a place, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop. But we get to see that Isolde notices something in the distance while her. I love it, but she notices something in the distance, and to get the hands off the cheeks, the lower ones, she smacks the hand away. It's like, what's that? People are fleeing at the Eastern Gate. She has better eyesight than me because I could not see that. But obviously, there's a battle going on, and we see all the people running away. But then we cut to this really cool trio shot, and I think it has to be Golgius, or at least one of Golgius' relatives, because the guy in the bottom right is disappearing too. I don't think Nakaba has stopped drawing him. I think he's literally supposed to be vanishing. But we see this really awesome shot of Peleo, one dude, and Golgius 2.0 all lunging in. And I think it's really cool because we see how the trio works together, right? So Peleo leaps high while the big bulkier dude goes in and attacks the opponent first. Then to add pressure to the opponent, what Golgius will do is reappear behind them and then attack them with certain thingamajigs. And it looks like, once again, just like what Golgius had, throwing knives. And notably, these guys are actually pretty powerful. Pelgar doesn't just face tank them. And obviously, I think Homeboy is wielding a literal Morningstar. But in actuality, like, Pelgar doesn't just face tank the rapid spinning, even with his armor. He's actually actively blocking it with his shield. And then Golgius' knife throwing is enough to knock Pelgar off balance. Like, it makes Pelgar stagger a bit. And considering how powerful Pelgar's been shown to be, these guys are pretty impressive for what I'm assuming is going to be Ruby tier Holy Knights. And we see that the regular Knights are declaring, yo, get out of here, remove yourselves from the situation. The Holy Knights are throwing down, and you know what happens when Holy Knights throw down in Leonis. And he then proceedingly gave everyone flashback trauma to the initial invasion of Leonis by the Seven Deadly Sins. But regardless, we get to see that even with all this chaos and wildness going on, Percival's like, yo, fine, I got y'all. I'll join you. He goes to grab Dragon Handle, and then Peleo's like, yo, thank you, but no thank you, my guy. Don't blame me for it. As Holy Knights, it's our job to protect the Four Knights of Prophecy. And I think that's cool, right? Especially, like, once again, I know Nagaba says you can read Seven Deadly Sins with... Oh, no, you can read Four Knights of the Apocalypse with no pre-knowledge of Seven Deadly Sins. But I still think this hits 10 times as hard as it would, because we know Peleo. We know his story from the previous series, and we know that he was once a kid that needed to be protected by a sacred order of knights, and now he is doing his job, paying it back essentially, and protecting another sacred order of knights when they're too weak to protect themselves. I think that's amazing. I don't know. I love that. I love that circular storytelling. How am I a narrative analysis dude, but still don't know certain narrative analysis terms? But regardless, I still think it's beautiful to see that the story comes full circle with these guys. Like, regardless of what's happened in the past, this is now their future, this is now their present, and now they're willing to lay their lives on the line, just like lives were laid on the line for them in the past. Or at least for Peleo's case, that's really, really cool. And once again, if that dude is Golgius reformed, I like that the kindness turned him around and brought him back to work under Meliodas. That's really, really cool. I like that. However, we get to see And Pelgar's like, alright, so it's all cool and all that you're talking to my pupil and all that, but I'm gonna need to get your pupils up out of here, so let me swing on you with this staff. Meaning, Pelgar did actually manage to get past the two other knights, and he goes to swing, but, oh wait, actually, no. Interesting. So, this is a perspective shot that's a bit strange. So, Pelgar seems to be directly in front of Peleo, but, oh, actually, no, it makes sense. So, what happens is, Pelgar did get past the other two, or the other two let Pelgar get past them. Pelgar goes into swing for Peleo, but Peleo leaps into the air, leaving Golgius. Interesting. I wonder. So yeah, Golgius is behind him, right? Because that's the continuation of the shot from before. Golgius threw knives, but that clang. So the clanging that's happening in that one panel is at the same time as this panel right here. And we see the throwing knives that were thrown were blocked by Pelgar. They didn't actually hit him. They didn't actually rip his cape. So he was thrown off. He was staggered, but he didn't actually take any damage. Meanwhile, this time, Peleo lands in, and Pelgar manages to dodge mostly, but on his left thigh, there's a cut, a little splurt of blood. Meaning, somewhat, and notably I know it's a blade against flesh, and we know any weapon, once again, in some of these sense, amps you to some degree. But quality of weapons helps. But in the same vein, this, what looks like a regular broadsword, is enough to just cut straight through Pelgar. And we know that, to a certain degree, you can just be strong enough in 7th Sin to the point where you don't need armor. Look at what most of our cast regular fights in. They don't always need armor. They kind of just wear it just because Nakaba control armor really, really well. So it shows that Pelgar, he's strong, but he's not so insanely strong. Like, I think, once again, if Melios were to show up right now, popping out, yeah, he wouldn't even really need Demon Mark. If I'm being completely real, if Melios were to show up just popping and flexing, he wouldn't need no Demon Mark. He'd pull up on Pelgar and be like, huh, Blaze, huh? I like that magic. Here's the hell, Blaze. And bada bing, bada boom. But we get to see that Peleo's like, huh, got you. It's all over now, you fool. But then Pelgar's like, hey, let me live with you real quick, homeboy. What is one little cut to me? My name is Big, Thick, Girthy, Girthy, Daddy Pelgar, boy. What you mean? But then he drops his weapon. And his shield, too. Oh, wait, no. I think he actually still holding on to the shield. But he drops the weapon, and he goes to reach for it. But when he goes to reach for it, he actually stands up further back and reels away from the weapon. And he's all disoriented and confused. And he's like, wait a minute, what? I meant to lift my weapon up, but I dropped it on the ground, and I tried to turn my head right, but it went left? Huh? Like he's confused. And then we get to see that the whole gang is confused. I'm like, I'm not mad that he's doing this, but what is he doing? What's going on with him? And we see Pelgar is like, yo, man, I know I just said I was thick and girthy, but like, what's going on here? Is this some mental trickery? And obviously, like, I get it. It's an anime thing. But why would you tell him that? Like, Peleo, I know you didn't have a weapon, but you have not taken this man out yet. Why would you tell him? Like, we could have gotten an internal monologue on what your magic is. Other than some unnecessary flexing, there's no reason to do this, my boy. However, you know, I get it. Me as a reader, it's a trope. And also, I appreciate knowing what it is, but his magic is apparently called perverse. Yeah, perverseness. Interesting. Hold on. Google 1 second. Would you look at that? I'm so used to the common usage of the word that I kind of forgot its original meaning. But the name of the magic makes sense. Under his magic, you may only move opposite to the manner your will. Opposite manner to your will. So essentially, it reverses all actions within the body. So, admittedly, when I first saw this, I thought it was like... I kind of thought it was like Inverted World all over again. Remember, for my Bleach fans out there, I thought it was like Shinji's Bankai. But, maybe, wait, was it his Bankai? Was that Shinji's Bankai or was it a Shikai? Hold on. Never mind. It's just his Shikai. He didn't use his Bankai. But, yeah, it reminded me of Shinji Shikai, right? Because Shinji Shikai just reversed everything. However, in actuality, what's different here is that it doesn't reverse the entire world, it doesn't reverse the world like it did with Shinji's Bankai. It just reverses Shikai. My apologies. It doesn't reverse the world with like the Shikai does. It just reverses like your natural intentions within your own body, which is arguably worse. and the reason that is because like I initially thought someone could quickly get over it, right? Like, you know how sometimes in video games, like, your controls will get reversed, but as long as you have your muscle memory trained to do certain things, like, you just flip it. Like, I remember, I think it's in Smash Bros. Like, there's some item that reverses your controls, or some status effect that reverses your controls, but, like, me and my friends who've been playing Smash Bros. For forever, we were just like, I bet, and we started working backwards. And sure, it would occasionally, we get so used to working backwards so quickly that we'd occasionally mess up and we had to go back forwards. But still, I was like, oh, this will be a quick switch for Pelgar. However, the simple idea of wanting to move in reverse is bad in a fight. Because, like, if you're a highly skilled combatant, like Pelgar is, you're very unlikely to be able to just tell your muscles, which have been trained to do certain things and take certain motions, to just do the opposite. It's not that simple. Like, if you wanted to tell, that's like, and the thing is, some of the reversals aren't even clear. Like, it's not like you, when you move your body, it technically is your brain sending signals. You're technically thinking of which body part you want to move, but like, now you need to think. It's essentially, it's a really, really good technique because it's not something that's so easily reversible as things being reversed in a general area around you. It's your own body lying to you and manipulating an opposite, which is really, really good. I wonder why Peleo unlocked that ability, though. Is it because he was trying to be like the evil group of knights, or what was perceived to be an evil group of knights in the beginning, that he once wielded an opposite will or something along those lines? I don't know. Usually magic ties into characters within Seven Sins, so it's interesting to see that. However, we get to see that Pelgar, well, first, Nasi and Zidani are like, whoa, that magic's some heat. And to be fair, it very much is. Give it to me. But regardless of that, they both acknowledge it, and Pelgar, while he's struggling figuring out the controls, because he's like left hand open and then his right hand opens. But then again, if everything is reversed, right? If you want your right hand open, then your left hand would close. So like you everything would be so weird. I can't even blame Pelgar for struggling like this. But now after this, Pelgar was like, I bet Golgius, other dude, let's jump him, and they proceed to go in for the jump. But Pelgar's like, man, I think you must not know who I am, who I be, and who I is, because I am simply that guy. I told you at the start of this, I am thick, girthy, throbbing Papa Pelgar. You cannot stop me. And in a burst of flames, he annihilates the entire area, and we get to see that Pelgar readily declares that, okay, if I can't physically fight you, I will crush you using nothing but my magic. And that is a wall. But no, in actuality, that does make sense, because I'm assuming the only thing that Pelgar would have to do, in comparison to like telling your individual fingers and body to grip and move in certain ways, like, instead of doing all that, all Pelgar really has to think in this scenario is magic off. And bada bing, bada boom, his magic is on. Then again, he may have to think of whatever the opposite of magic would be in order to get it to turn it on. But I wonder how he's going to turn it off now. Like, is he going to have to think magic on? I don't know. However, it's still a really cool visual. And once again, it goes to show just how powerful Pelgar is. Like, he's not just strong physically, as he's been showing, but the heat and power and pressure built up within him is also amazing. And once again, this definitely reminds me of Monspeet's flames. If you remember Monspeet's techniques, they always had like the white background with the black flame around them, or at least like the thick black borders. So I don't know, very, very interesting. I haven't talked about this in a while, but I really do wonder if Arthur maybe gave some of his men abilities of other species simply because he could, because he wanted to, and he figured they would wield them better than the other species would. Very, very interesting. It's just this seems like a very Hellblaze-esque technique, but we don't actually know just yet. We don't know the full properties of Blaze. But then we finally cut back to the scene of the other crime. Like, there's currently a battle going on, but there's also another scene of the crime at hand. But luckily enough, it's mostly over, and we see that Isolde is like, oh my, it's Nani Daisuke, such magical. And all this fire is exploding everywhere, and all these pieces are flying. And Isolde, you literally just said earlier on in the chapter you're only good for your strength. Why did you fold? Why did you fold? Well, then again, I'm glad she folded, mainly because a certain something happens as a barrel comes barreling towards her through the air, a flaming barrel, if you will. As she screams and covers herself, we get to see that her partner, her accomplice, is not too happy about that. It's like, ah, wonderful, such a fine mood we had going, and now it's ruined. And we see a finger pointing out with a little tiny sun on the end of it. And then in a flash, like, I didn't even see the thing travel. Like, it went from the front of their finger to the barrel immediately, and boom, the barrel actually just straight up exploded into fiery pieces. And Isol's looking on and is like, oh, what did you do to that barrel? I'm sorry. The amount of times I break into song in actual life is concerning, so I'm sad. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to get in videos. But we see that Isol is just blown away because she's like, wait, what did you just do? Who are you? Why did you touch my hips? Like, what's going on here? And we get to see, oh, me? I am the master of the sun, Gawain. W night reveal. W stretch. W theorist. Every single one of you. Every last one of you that said, hey, pencil, dum look. like y'all were pointing. Y'all were fiending. Y'all were glaring at me. Like, bro, take a deep gander, a look. Take a taste of what we're witnessing. All y'all who saw that woman in the background, all y'all who predicted that Gawain wasn't going to be in the armor, all that, great, amazing, legendary, beautiful, and now we get to see who really is the final knight of the apocalypse, Gawain. And obviously, we got some things to talk about. First things first, Gawain. They are a girl? I'm not sure. Notably, hold on. Time to Google. Okay, so I mean, like the first definition that popped up when I looked up the word lad is a boy or young man. Hold on, I'm gonna do even more research. Give me a second. All right, so I went back to chapter 6, and there, the word lad is specifically used. I think I'm reading the official translation. I'm pretty sure. And when I googled the word lad, a boy or young man. So is the prophecy just fell out wrong, or did the clues they got, was that not the original prophecy? Was there supposed to be 4 young knights? I don't know. This is interesting, right? Because Gawain, if this really is Gawain, and I'm assuming it is, because Master of the Sun, Gawain, and obviously the 4 knights are supposed to meet up here. I can't say it because they're also likely 16, but there are 2 big obvious reasons why I don't think they are a young man or boy. But I wonder, what does that mean? Does that mean the prophecies are unreliable, or can the future change, or is the future not set in stone? I don't know. It's very interesting that Gawain is a woman. I don't know, but it's also, I don't know. I do like it. It's cool. Like I mentioned in the intro, I do like that Gawain has game in comparison to both Mael and Escanor, the 2 previous wielders of Sun, who have no game at all. Like, and who knows? This may be something that she only. I'm sorry, but the confidence thing may be something that she only has when Sun is active. And there's so many strange things, right? About Gawain, number 1, I'm not sure. This must be Gawain normal, right? Like, but it is midday. Like, the sun is activated. Obviously, she used sun to destroy the barrel. But with Gawain being able to use sun, does that mean she's more like the thing with Escanor, right? He was born with sun, and what happened when he was born with sun is that it mutated with him. He grew stronger and like changed throughout the day. But it looks like Gawain isn't experiencing any of those side effects. She just has access to the power, pretty much just like Mael did. Notably, Mael. The reason I always like clarify, Mael wielded sun, Escanor wielded sunshine, is because both magics, despite seeming to be originating from the same being with the same power, they're very different. Like, Mael doesn't bulk up whenever he uses sun, meanwhile Escanor does. It's an involuntary reaction. And maybe it's because Mael wasn't born with it, and Escanor was, and who knows, maybe Gawain wasn't born with it. Maybe she just got the grace, because, you know, as you do, you just acquire the grace. But it's very interesting to see that she has control over the grace, and she doesn't seem to be mutating. However, maybe her mutation is just aging. Like, maybe she'll... But then again, it doesn't... I don't know. It's interesting that she's here. And notably, a thing that I thought of, could she be Nanashi's daughter? Maybe the only pure humans bulk up whenever they have access to... But then again, no related to King Arthur. The weird thing is, like, thank you to all those in the comments giving me history lessons. But with Gawain being related to Arthur, supposedly, like, where is this relation coming from? Because Arthur... I don't know, mainly because Gawain looks like Merlin. Like, black hair, slender figure, everything. She looks exactly like Merlin. I don't necessarily see how... I don't see any resemblance to Arthur here, like, at all. If anything, she looks like Merlin and Nanashi's kid, but they aren't related to Arthur as far as I know. Outside the fact that he holds chaos, and everyone in some way, shape, or form is related to chaos. But with that being said, I don't know, it's interesting that she looks like that. And once again, there is the whole weird thing, like, what happened to Nanashi? We haven't seen him at all, but we know he was loyal to Arthur, but we also know he was a goddess, so, you know, maybe Arthur ate him, but interesting. Also, just their finesse and control over Sun. I'm not sure, I mean, Escanor was an adult by the time they found him in Seven Deadly Sins. He was a full-grown adult, but even he didn't have this little finesse and control over it. And also, we don't know what time it is, but what does their one look like? If they are just a pure human, that's more... I guess, like, the thing is, the weird thing about Sun is that it didn't work with Escanor's body. Despite him being born with it, it didn't like him. And I wonder if maybe Escanor was, like, a transitionary phase. Maybe Sunshine has adapted more to humans because it's existed within a human, and that's why Gawain isn't experiencing any of the mutation effects that Escanor used to undergo. I really don't know, but I'm intrigued to see that, and I'm also intrigued to see this new manipulation of Sun. Notably, she didn't throw, like, a cruel sun or anything at the barrel. She just pointed at it, there was a slight little bit of light in front of her finger, and bada bing, bada boom, the whole thing exploded. So maybe her sun powers will be different, because notably, Mael and Escanor pretty much had the exact same powers, but this seems to be something a bit different, and I'm intrigued to see how Nakaba takes this, considering we've already seen Sun used so thoroughly by, obviously, Escanor and Mael. So, very, very interesting on that front. 2. Are we going to have a rivalry between Tristan and Gawain? Are they both going to be going for Isolde? Because if so, I'm rocking with that. And honestly, low-key, after Tristan's corny jokes, I'm definitely rooting for Gawain. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Gawain, you bagged that. And notably, I'm intrigued to see how, to lead back a little bit more into the chapter, Peleo actually has a magic that can keep him around in the narrative. So, is he going to die? Like, I don't know. Peleo's magic seems very, very useful. So, maybe you want to have access to it. What are the limits of his magic? I don't know. But, like, if he landed that on anybody, would he be able to just disable them? Like, I can't, like, say you were to suddenly reverse my controls. Like, I probably couldn't even speak properly. I don't know. Because that requires control and will of mine. And I would want to will myself to speak, but I'd probably just shut up. So... And I know some of y'all want me to shut up, but still, like, in the same vein, I don't know, I'm kind of intrigued. What are the limits of Peleo's magic, and how good is he? Is that Gorgias? Did he just reform himself and come back and decide to fight under Meliodas? Speaking of Meliodas, where is he? Like, the dude, I know travel speed does not equal combat speed in Seven Deadly Sins. There are people who can travel way faster than there are people who can travel way faster than people who... English! There are people who can travel faster than they can fight. And people who can fight faster than they can travel. But Meliodas, you're telling me you sense none of this. You sense not a darn thing. Like, I get it. The castle needs to be protected. But your wife is there. And unless she's pregnant, again, I don't see why the goddess Elizabeth, the one who was able to throw around 10 Commandment Zeldris, can't defend herself. Like, go out there and stop the problems that are happening in your kid, especially considering this is all happening in one general area. Like, it'd be one thing if this was an actual properly, like, built up attack by Arthur and there was multiple magics flaring everywhere. But no, as Isolde even notices, if this is all by the Eastern Gate, like, if I'm Meliodas, you would have felt me. Like, legitimately, if you could sense magic in the moment, especially because the thing is, Meliodas should, well, then again, that's the thing. A question I asked, and we had a really great discussion about this in the comment section, was, can people tell what magic is what magic, or can they just tell the quantity of it? Because, notably, Escanor, well, and we did come to a consensus that it is actually just the amount of magic and not whose magic it is, which kind of sucks. I wish it was. I wish you could tell whose magic is who. But it was just quantity. Because the thing is, if it wasn't quantity and it was like quality or type of magic, I know Meliodas, since like Escanor's magic, after 16 years of the man being dead, would have had his neck snapping. Like, you know, Meliodas would have been like, wait a minute, I know that. And just, like, essentially, if I'm Meliodas in this scenario, and I'm sensing either A, Escanor's magic just existing and active again, and or I'm sensing the battle going on at the West Gate, especially that blaze flare that Pelgar does that takes up a whole chunk of the area that they're in, I would have sensed that and been like, well, I know where a knight could be, and I'd be zoom. I would just be flying over there immediately. And he should be able to. Like, Leonis is big, but it ain't that big. And also, I guess this is where our 4 knights are going to meet. Pelgar is going to be the unifying factor, because I'm assuming, unless something happens with Guinevere immediately, which I'm assuming not. I think what's going to happen is the knights are going to meet. Actually, I won't spoil what I think is going to happen, because I want to make a video on what could happen. And I know what the video I plan to make, I know won't happen, but it'd be cool if it did. But essentially, what I'm assuming is, with Pelgar acting up, Gawain's going to be like, you stay here, you lovely lady. I'll be back to deal with you and your hips later. And then she'll leap over, and then Percival's going to be like, oh no, you need help. He's going to flare into hope mode. Lancelot was just told, well, either Guinevere told him about the Star-Visored Knight, which is a possibility, but then again, Guinevere did the Escanor thing, did the pointing to the sun pose, so it's highly likely that Lance just got told where Gawain is, so I wouldn't be shocked if he showed up. And Tristan has sensory magic, and Kyan is obviously very invested in where Gawain is so he can kill him. But with that being the case, I could literally see, if not next chapter, I could maybe, because Nakaba loves to stall. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Nakaba does love to stall a little bit. So if not next chapter, the chapter after that, I could literally see the title being the 4 Knights Unite, because all 4 of them would converge on Pelgar. And honestly, if Pelgar is that level of a threat, I'm down for that. Like, can you imagine the first battle of the 4 knights together being against Pelgar? I would rock with that. I really, really would. And Hope could also be Guinevere. I think that she could be stolen away. However, this chapter, it's great. Like, I'm not gonna lie. From the intro of the chapter, which is Pelgar and Percival meeting up, another P. I know it's a weird thing to point out, but I remember how I made a big point out of Peleo and Pelgar, the double P gang. But now, we got PPP. Pelgar, Percival, and Peleo. All PEs, too. Huh. I mean, there's not many other letters you can put after a P. But still, I don't know, it's hilarious how we open up with the triple P gang all meeting up and hanging out. Then we accelerate into a proper battle between the two. We get Pelgar's hefty full name reveal. He switches back into his armor. We get this amazing battle. And then we get the game spitter, Gawain the game spitter. That's what we're going to call her. Gawain the game spitter pulling up and spitting some game on ISO. Then we get to see back to the battle between Pelgar. We get to see Peleo's magic being revealed. Possible Golgius returning. So much stuff happens there. And then finally we end with the explosion of Pelgar's magic and the reveal of Gawain. Like, I don't know. All this is heat. Like, not going to lie. All of this, very, very good. I love this chapter. 10 out of 10. Easy. Now, I just need an 11 out of 10 chapter where our 4 knights unite. However, those are my thoughts on the chapter. Please tell me your thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Manga the Pencil, writing off.